One of the things I wish I knew earlier in my real estate career was how to purchase property, add value to it, and basically take control of that property with $0 out of my own pocket. It is one of those things that is definitely sold as a real estate investment strategy, although it is a very hard thing to do. It is not easy to learn, and there are lots of things that can go wrong. But in today's video, I want to show you exactly how I did that on my most recent home purchase. And I really wish I would have known this earlier in my career, because I would have bought significantly more real estate in a significantly different way than I did if I would have just known how to do what I'm about to show you. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about a race to 25,000 subscribers, where one lucky subscriber is going to win $5,000 to put towards their TFSA, RSP, RESP, or to pay down their mortgage, or maybe if they want to make a purchase on a real estate investment. So go ahead, click that subscribe button. It's free, it's easy, it's definitely worth it. And if you like videos like this and this type of real estate investment content, go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section below letting me know. The definitive guide on how to manage your credit: product, penalty, price, in that order. It's never been more important to get your mortgage right. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss how to purchase a property, add value to it, and then refinance it out so that you have very little or $0 into it. And I'm going to show you exactly how I purchased a recent real estate property and how I was able to do exactly that: take control of the property without having a dollar out of my own pocket. And the way I look at this and the way I look at my future in real estate is the game is simply monopoly. It's trying to take as much control of the monopoly board as you can. So buy as many properties as you can, add value to them, and make them so that they generate income without taking a significant amount of risk. Now, this is where I differ from other real estate investment gurus and so on and so forth. Although I'm not a guru, I'm simply somebody who is a professional in the industry who wants to share the information that I have and that I've learned personally. And here's where I differ: is I don't believe in high leverage, borrowing every penny that you can, trying to build a huge portfolio and taking all the risk and hoping that the whole thing doesn't collapse around you as you're building the portfolio. I believe in minimal risk. I believe in trying to have as little debt as possible and doing these sorts of things with as little debt as possible while keeping as much cash available as I can, just in case things go wrong, which is why I do things like try to purchase properties like this one in order to have zero cash of my own into them and have those cash reserves available for down the road if I need them, if things happen to go wrong. So I'm going to go through, some of you may have seen this property in other videos. I'll just show it to you here real quick. This is the home that I purchased. It's a condo. It's a single unit, not the entire building. I'll show you what it looked like before. This was during the demolition stage. You can see it was, very dated. It wasn't taken care of. It was a foreclosure. Here's what we turned it into: old bathroom, new bedroom. And basically the overall look of it took it from a 1990s look to a very much a 2020 look or 2021 look. So, we took care of this. We bought this property and we simply wanted to do this. We knew what the purchase price was. We knew how much renovations we needed to do, and we knew approximately what that would bring the value to. And the whole goal was to get the renovation done, get it reappraised, refinance out all the costs of carrying the property, refinance the purchase price, and refinance out the renovation costs, so that we ended up with a mortgage that was the total of that, and so that we didn't have any of our actual cash tied up in the property. And it was not an easy thing to do. It was a time-intensive thing to do because there was a lot that went into it, including months of looking at different properties and making sure that we found the right one. I actually made offers on other properties and found that they weren't really the best or most suitable properties for this type of investment because we just couldn't do the renovation and get the value back out of them that we expected. But this one, we were able to buy at a really low price. We had very comparable properties to compare it to that had recently been renovated, and the numbers made sense and they worked. So, if I went back in my real estate career, I would probably have bought my first property in this way. I would have found something that needed a reno and done this type of project to it. I would have probably bought my next house in the same way, trying to purchase it, do a reno, and add a significant amount of money to my net worth, while at the same time creating a house that I wanted to live in. And I would have done this on multiple other occasions when I bought other real estate investments. But here's what we did, and here's the steps it took to basically purchase this property with $0 out of our own pocket. And when I say $0 out of our own pocket, I mean we refinanced every penny out that we'd put into it and immediately found a renter that was basically making the mortgage payments, the condo payments, and all the payments. It was cash flow positive from day one. So literally in a 6-month period, I was able to take control, take possession, take control of this property for $0 out of my own pocket. And now it's got about $40,000 to $50,000 in equity in it. And it is paying down the mortgage at a rate of $400 to $500 a month, which means my net worth is increasing by $400 to $500 a month. So in a 6-month period, we were basically able to add $40,000 to $50,000 to our net worth, basically by finding a property that needed a little bit of love and love and attention. Tender love and care. That's what it needed. Renovating it and then finding some really great renters to take possession of it and essentially to make the mortgage payments for us, and while giving them a really great place to live. So here's what we did. First step in this process, and this was a 6 to 8 month process between the time where I decided I wanted to do it and when we actually did it, was we were looking for properties that had some issues. So maybe they were foreclosures, maybe they needed a renovation. This one was both of those. It was a foreclosure that needed a renovation. And, it was priced very, very low because it had some problems. On top of that, it was a basement unit, and therefore basement units aren't typically as desirable. So it had all of these things working against it, which allowed us to purchase it for a very, very, very low price. Then what we did once we had purchased it was we assessed, and actually we did this a little bit before, but we also did this during the financing condition period. But what we did is we assessed the as renovated value, so the as complete value versus the purchase price. And we basically looked at it and said, okay, if we pay X amount, so $130,000 for this unit, and we put $30,000 in renovations into it, our total cost is going to be $160,000. What will it be worth? And in this case, it was going to be worth about $220,000. So we knew that we were going to be able to refinance it out for more because we can go to 80% loan to value. We were able to refinance it out to $176,000 if we wanted to, and therefore we'd be able to get all of our money and all of our carrying costs back out of it. Now, the thing here was we needed to find a lender who would lend based on finished value. Now, big banks aren't going to do this. Normal lenders aren't going to do this. There's some private lenders that will do this, and we have some really great relationships with some private lenders that will let us purchase a property, put as little as $10,000 down. They're lending based on the finished or as complete value. They take a look at the renovations. They look at everything that you're going to do. They assess it and they go, okay, after a 3 to 5 month period, will you be able to either refinance this property out or sell it and make money? So they do the entire assessment for us. And if you want to get connected with those companies, basically what you do is you apply through Mortgage 360 and we'll forward on the mortgage application for you and make sure that everything is set up and ready to go before it gets to them. Because if I didn't do that, you guys would absolutely inundate them by going to them directly, and they would have a whole bunch of people that didn't necessarily know what they were doing trying to get these mortgages. So we vet the mortgages first and then we pass them on to them. But basically, you can put $10,000 to $20,000 down and then do the renovation, and they will basically lend you the money to purchase the property almost to the entirety of the value of the property. So really cool feature there. Now, there's other ways to do this as well. You could go to the bank of mom and dad. If you're a first-time home buyer and they've got a line of credit or they've got some cash available, you could do a very similar thing where you purchase a property, do a reno, and then refinance it and basically end up with a 0% down payment or a bunch of equity in the property. You could do the exact same thing in that scenario if you were so inclined. The other thing that you could do is you could use an existing property with an existing line of credit to do exactly the same thing without going to a third-party lender. So say you got a line of credit, you got $200,000 available on it, you buy the property, you do the reno, and then you refinance it out to pay off the line of credit and put a mortgage on the actual properties. So the key thing here, though, is finding a lender or a way to purchase the property in order to do the renovation. Now, big banks prime lenders don't like it when you go in and get an open mortgage or you get a line of credit knowing that you're going to flip a property and sell it in 6 months. It is a very easy way to not be able to get lent money from that lender anytime in the near future ever again. But there are lenders and there are ways to do this. Now, granted, that private lender that I was talking about that we use, they charge 14 to 15%, but that is just a carrying cost of doing this type of renovation. It ended up being, in this scenario, $3,000 or $4,000, or it would have been had we used that. We obviously used our personal line of credit to do this, but it's a carrying cost for 3 to 4 months that is more than worth it to have the access to the capital to be able to do this. Now, then the fourth step was we wanted to make sure that we renovated this to modern standards. So we didn't renovate it to our liking. We renovated it to the liking of the majority of consumers. And the reason we did that is, one, because it would appraise for more. And two is because we knew it was going to be a rental. So we wanted it to appeal to the largest variety of people. And when we did this renovation, there was obviously things that came up that we didn't expect. There was problems with a couple of the pipes. There was problems with some of the flooring, and there's always going to be that. So when you do your renovation budget, it's really, really important that you have contingencies built in. 10 to 20% of your renovation value, you should put in as contingencies for things that you don't expect, and expect that there will be things that come up, because it almost always happens. A fifth thing we did was, once the renovation was complete, we had an appraiser go through and we had them basically value the property comparable to other properties there. Now, because we had done the pre-work and we had talked to our appraisal friends prior to doing this and the real estate friends prior to doing this, we knew that the property was going to appraise. The only thing we were concerned about was if another property came up that was, a distressed sale that was priced way under value, that would have been a problem. It kind of did happen, but we were able to deal with it. And nonetheless, we were able to get an appraisal that not only established what our increase to our net worth was, but also established what we'd be able to borrow against the property going forward. And here's the end result. So the end result was this: you end up with this property. For us, it was a rental. For you, it could be a property that you purchased. It was easier to find a deal because it was a property that was distressed. We got it built exactly to the standards that we wanted, and we were, at the end of the day, able to refinance all of our costs out and basically have $0 in obligations because we put renters into it, and have all the cash that we used to do the reno back in our pocket so that we could have it for a rainy day, or if we found another property that we want to do the exact same thing with, we'd be able to do it again. And again, this all comes down, in my mind, to finding ways to, again, control the monopoly board. Get into properties with as little of our own money as possible, with also at the same time as little debt as possible. In this case, we ended up with a $165,000 mortgage on this property, which compared to the value at $220 ends up being awesome. I know in other markets, Toronto, yes, Vancouver, yes, prices are going to be substantially higher, but these opportunities do exist in every market, no matter where you are. Might just have to be scaled up by a couple $100,000, but this is doable. And at the end of the day, if I was going to go back and I was going to start purchasing my first condo, my second condo, my first house, my first rental property, my second rental property, my fourth, my fifth, my seventh, I would purchase every property in this exact same way. I would find the properties that have the hair on them that nobody wants to deal with, find a way to fix them, increase the value. And ultimately, when we can make that initial jump and increase the value on day one, it actually lowers our risk versus purchasing a property that was, say, already renovated, where we're putting all of our money in, our $40,000 or $50,000 in for a down payment in order to purchase the property, and we no longer have that cash available to us, and it is sitting there with basically the risk of losing it if property values go down, and not having it if we absolutely need it. So I think this is a great strategy. The key things here is, one, it takes time to find the properties. Two is you need to know what you're doing. It's going to take some time to learn the market. It's going to take some time to learn what a renovated property looks like versus a non-renovated property. And then it's simply a waiting game until the right property comes up. And then once it does, make sure you have your team, your appraiser, your mortgage people, your realtor, your private lender if you need it, and make sure that you have everybody there who is basically ready to go, and make sure that you're making the right decision at the right time. And if you have one of those professionals, one of those individuals says, I don't know if this is the right deal, then you need to be very, very, very careful. I did have that happen twice. I had it happen where people went, not sure this is the right one. We bailed on both of those properties as a result. And ultimately, it was our ability to listen to the professionals that we had involved that led us down that road of making the right decision and finding the right property, which was this one, rather than purchasing the other ones that would have probably been not catastrophic in our case, but could have been for somebody who didn't necessarily have the budget or the money in order to make the project work. So, really cool property, really cool story of buying a property, $0 out of our own pocket, adding to our net worth, adding to our real estate investment portfolio. 20 years down the road, this thing's going to be completely paid off, probably sooner than that. And we are going to have a great source of income. And then the next step becomes, how do we find the next one and the next one and the next one, and keep adding to that monopoly board so that we can ultimately end up with a big portfolio of real estate that we've got very little of our own cash into, and therefore very little risk because we've got the cash available to us in the event that something goes wrong. If you found this video useful, we've got a homebuyers bootcamp that you may also find useful, where we go through things like this, where we go through purchase plus improvements, which is another way of improving a property when you purchase it and getting the exact property that you want. I'll link to the description below. Those courses are priced so low that we expect people to get 10 to 20 times their value back at least. And we've put a special offer in there for Mortgage 360 if you so choose. And if you found this video useful, in addition to that, at least do me this favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers. I sincerely hope that you are the winner. We'll see you on the next video. Cheers.